Good morning, traders. This week we will be looking at a potential breakout on Bitcoin, further potential targets on gold, and a looming move on the Australian dollar USD. All this along with our exciting usual lineup. I'm going to let the disclaimer roll and I will see you in the charts. Starting with the US dollar to the South African rand. The rand is consolidating currently between the 4-hour 200 SMA, that is our red line, and also our 4-hour 100 SMA, that is our blue line, and that also coincides with the projected weekly R1 pivot and the weekly RS1 pivots. So should we see a breakout above or below any of these two levels, a breakout above will see price bring us towards this 17 Rand 80 level. That is around about the area where we can expect our weekly R2 level to be, and that will also bring us back to the area of our initial breakout into this lower area on 22nd of May. Should we see a breakout lower, we will see price probably move towards this 16 Rand 90. This is our weekly S2 pivot level, and this is also the monthly S1 pivot level. Should I enable that to show you? So you can see that also coincides with the monthly S1 pivot level. And just to mention again, that 17 Rand 80 target level is also very close to our monthly pivot that has not yet been retested. So that does act like a magnet to some extent. So we can really look out for that 17 Rand 80 to 17 Rand 90 level should price break higher. And just perhaps moving to the daily time frame, I'd just like to show you that the daily 100 SMA, that would be the blue line, will be a key deciding factor with regards to price action. So should we be able to close above it, it's likely that we can see price move back higher towards those levels that we identified. But should price manage to reject this 100 SMA on the daily, we will see price move lower towards the 16 Rand 90 level. Looking now at the Euro USD, we are looking at the daily time frame, and I just want to show you that we saw this wedge breakout at the beginning of the week, and the breakout level was then retested with price currently looking to find some support on this retest level. And staying on the daily time frame, our possible targets, should price be able to move back higher, should be the highs at about the monthly R2 level, that would be 1.138, and our support will then also sit on the 20 SMA, which also coincides with the 50 SMA on the daily, and that will be around 1.118. And just moving to the 4-hour time frame, it's going to be high level the monthly pivots and enable our projected weekly pivots for the week. So we can see that for the EURUSD, should we be able to move higher and also then firstly above our weekly pivot at 1.125, we can expect areas of resistance to be 1.132, and also that will be our weekly support 1 area, so WS1, and then of course, as mentioned, that monthly R2 level sitting at the previous highs, being what was that? I believe that was about 1.14 to 1.138. That would be upside targets, and our support would be the 200 SMA on the 4-hour, and that will also coincide with the 50% Fibonacci retracement from the high at 1.11. Let's just call it 1.114, and also we should have some further support on our projected. I'm just going to hide the monthly pivots again, enable the projected weekly pivots. Okay, so I see our weekly S1 is also finding some confluence with this area. So this will definitely be a strong area of support at 1.114, as this would be where our 200 SMA and 4-hour meet, as well as our Fibonacci 50% retracement area, as well as our weekly S1 area of support. And then just quickly looking at the Forex calendar for the week, and then the events that might affect our USD pair. We have the federal chair again testifying on Tuesday, and that will be later in the evening at 6:30. We have our non-pharmaceutical employment change on Wednesday, 2:45. And then on Thursday, as per usual, we do have some high impact events at 2:30, being non-farm employment changes as well as unemployment rate. So I think especially this one would be worth watching. Moving on to the GBPUSD. On our market overview video last week, we identified this potential head and shoulder move, which we expected to break lower. We did see a small move lower, although we then saw price retrace back above this slanted neckline area, only to find resistance at this 50 SMA area on the 4-hour. But looking at the 1-day time frame, we can see that what actually happened was is the price went back to retest this 100 daily SMA area. So this is the blue line that we see coming across here, and I believe this is what was happening. Is price went back to retest that area, and we can see it was rejected, and now we're back below this area of what used to be support. And then just moving back to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we are even making new lows now, so it's a good chance that we might see price move lower from this area. And then just to look at areas of support and resistance, it's worth noting that if we enable our monthly pivot levels, we can see that we are still sitting on this monthly pivot area where our previous area of support was also, and this is also what we identified in our market overview video last weekend as the area of support. So we saw price move up from there, being rejected on the daily 100 SMA, and also very close to our 50 SMA and 100 SMA area on the 4-hour, and then moving back lower towards this pivot level. So it's probably worth noting that this is appearing to be something like a cup and handle formation. If you look at this area, that's being the cup and that's being the handle. So should this break down, it could give us a very large downside potential target. But yeah, that might take some time to fully play out. And just looking at the near-term areas of our near-term targets, I'd say our immediate targets worth noting is this S1 area of support at 1.20. And just looking at the projected weekly pivot levels, we can see that we have our weekly pivot levels sitting at 1.224, and then as well as 1.217. And should price manage to break above this weekly pivot level, we might even see a brief retest of this weekly R1 area at 1.247. And just drawing a trend line, we'll see that will also probably coincide with some additional diagonal resistance in this area. So should price manage to move back higher, we should see further resistance in this area, and then we can expect a move either lower, or should we manage to move higher, resistance is at 2.60, or perhaps slightly higher at this weekly R2 area of resistance at 1.262. Looking at the Australian dollar to the USD, we can see that we are finding further consolidation in this larger wedge pattern, or triangular wedge pattern, and price very closely hugging this 100 SMA on the 4-hour. And should price manage to break above this weekly pivot level for the week, and also, of course, manage to break above our 100 SMA level, we can expect price to soon retest our 0.7 level, and even perhaps as part of this breakout from this wedge area, we can expect the highs at 0.70 to be retested. Should price manage to break the support at this 0.682 level, we will find additional support in this confluence area where we see the 200 SMA as well as our weekly our weekly S1 pivot levels converge, and that will also coincide with the previous areas of support where we have managed to find some buyers. So look out at the areas within this wedge for a breakout either to the downside, where we might find some support on this 0.67 level, or 0.678 level, or perhaps if we manage to break above our weekly pivot, we might see our weekly R1 and then even the 0.70 levels retested. Now looking at the S&P 500, we have again retested this 3020 level, and it will be very important, actually crucial for us to regain this level to see the upside targets at our previous areas of resistance and also our previous high at 3160. And I believe depending on how we look at it, we can either take this as a break lower with looking at connecting our lows or the tails of this area and looking at that break with a retest of that breakout area. So meaning this move is either going to take us lower, and should that be the case, we can expect price to move lower towards this area of support at 2955. And I believe, just quickly want to see, enabling our projected pivots. Yeah, that will also coincide with our projected weekly S1 pivot. So should price continue to move lower, this would be an area of support where we can see price move higher. And then should price perhaps move back higher above this 200 SMA on the 4 hour, which would be crucial for us to do should we like to see a breakout from this, what could potentially be a falling wedge pattern. If we manage to break above this, we will very soon see the 3110 level. That is around the area of 100 SMA on the 4 hour. And then should that, of course, manage to break, we could see either this 3160 area or perhaps even the highs at 3200 tested. Moving on to Brent crude oil. So our elusive gap target at $45 is still evading us. I believe we are still seeing bullish price action. And if you look at our broader price structure, we can see that this previous area of resistance and our support is well holding, with price still making new higher lows and just drawing some diagonal support from our last two previous swing lows. We can see that we are still above that diagonal support. And moving on to our 4 hour time frame, and also enabling our future or our projected weekly pivot levels, we can see that our price is still firstly above the 100 SMA on the 4 hour time frame, and should we stay above this level and even above this weekly pivot level, we can expect price to move up towards this $43.20 area of resistance. And should we manage to get above that, it's quite likely that we could even see something like 44.80 be retested, as that would also be an area of some additional overhead diagonal resistance. And just looking at areas of support, our first area of support would be the weekly S1 pivot at $58.80, and that will very quickly find some confluence with this 200 SMA on the 4 hour. So that would be our areas of support. Should price for any reason manage to break below that areas of support, we can expect further support at the 56 level. So that would be about there. That would be previous area of resistance. And we are still hoping for this gap close at $45. Now looking at gold, and don't we just love it when a plan comes together? Gold reaching the targets we set last week on our market overview video at 1770, going right up to that previous weekly R2 and as well as the monthly R1 pivot levels. So just enabling both of those. So we can see that price moved right up to those levels, reaching the target that we set, and then quickly finding some sellers stepping in, and then just we are currently seeing a small pullback with what appears to be a more or further strong bullish price action, and we are very likely going to see price continue upwards. And should we manage to break back above the monthly R1 level at 1770, we will likely see that 1800 target being reached, and we can even see price move above that. So looking at support sitting at 1740, and that would be the previous area of resistance, currently an area of support. So just taking into account, should price manage to move slightly lower, that would be the area of support to look out for. As usual, we conclude our market overview for the week by looking at the chart of Bitcoin in US dollars. The 9,100 level that we have identified on our previous market overview videos has once again been tested, and so far we are holding the level, and judging from our MFI indicator and just trying to understand if we can read any divergence into this consolidation, it's likely that we can see, well, it's likely that this level can hold, and should it happen that it does hold, we could see our area of resistance at, I just want to double check this, at 9,650, around about there. I believe, just looking at the projected pivots, that will coincide with the pivot. That's correct. So that will coincide with our weekly R1 pivot level. So should this area of support manage to hold and we see a breakout higher, we can expect to see this area being retested. However, should price not make it that high, the 200 SMA on this 4-hour time frame could offer some additional resistance and force price back lower. And of course, as mentioned, the 9,100 level remains key. With a break below this level, can cause price to very quickly move towards the weekly S2 pivot level at 8,500, and I think for now, I believe that's as low as we'd like to see Bitcoin go, because there is some additional diagonal resistance at this level as well. But a break below this could see price move lower very quickly should the various levels fail to hold. We can see that we do have our weekly S3 area of support at 8,000. So that would be a lower area of support should price manage to break lower aggressively. That concludes our market overview for the week. I would like to remind you about our newly launched Masterclass series with our latest video, How to Trade Like a Chess Player, uploaded on Friday. In this excerpt, we deal with how to trade safe and successful in these volatile times. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and until next time, this is John Jacobs for RMDTRADER, and remember, trade smart and trade successful.